So, here we are. It's the end of the line for a game that we played for 3 years. Forza Horizon 4 is kind of one of those oddities that, although it divided the communities and lived up to some expectations while falling short in others, by no means was it a bad game. In fact, it's a game I'm going to remember really fondly. And during my hype for Horizon 5, that's kind of when it hit me. This may very well be the last time that I play Horizon 4. With everything that they're showcasing in the gameplay, and all of the cool features that they're bringing in, the new roads, I'm excited. So excited that I can't wait to move on. But in moving on, I leave behind a game that left me with more memories than I could ever ask for. So I decided I would do my favorite Forza Horizon game justice. Why do I say it's my favorite? Well, you'll have to stick around and find out. I'll share my thoughts at the end. But what I wanted to do was put together a video with all of my friends and people I've met through the community and just talk about the game itself. There's a lot to love in this game, and I think the big content creators won't necessarily do it justice. There was a lot to the game than just loud noises, supercars, and the Goliath racing. There was so much content, and there was so many cool things that people did, and they just had fun with. So, I ask that you take a trip down memory lane with me and experience Forza Horizon 4 for what it truly was to us, the Toge Racers. This is Tales from the Mountain, Forza Horizon 4's Retrospect view. Akemi, how are you, man?
Good afternoon. No, I'm kidding.
Stabbing pencils into my Robloxian pumpkin head.
Oh, okay. That's a good start.
What do you mean? What do I not? Also, it was a satanic ritual to bring Roblox back because Roblox is down for 4 days for no reason.
That is not better.
Is still robotic?
No, you crunched hardcore on the entrance.
Oh,
It's
it's
funny.
because my mic was in my mouth.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So, howdy Tuga. Thanks for stopping by.
What's going on?
Hey there, Silent. How's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Oi, the fuck you want, mate?
Shark. How's it going?
Hi, hello. It's going. I'm currently eating some macaroni and cheese. So
Okay.
I'm having a good time.
This is perfect interview territory for you. I've caught you in your natural habitat. Hello, Mr. Raiden.
Yo.
How's it going?
Alright.
B-Talk. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Hey, man. How's it going?
Good.
Hey, Vanilla. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
A little tired, but making the most of it.
Yeah.
Basically, what I've been doing is I've been going around and asking a bunch of people a bunch of questions about Horizon 4, some about Horizon 5, and just questions in general. So, I'd like to start off with one that I consider an easy one, but a lot of people might have some trouble with. And I wanted to know, how was Forza Horizon 4 the video game for you?
I loved it. Not just for the whole Toge thing, because I played a lot of FH4 before like I even got really into Toge. I did towards like the end of FH3,
Mhm.
but nothing crazy. It's just like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then that was it. But just the actual game itself, like I really did enjoy. They added quite a few like little unique little events and stuff, which I thought was pretty neat.
I mean, they definitely had to. It was a long 3 years.
It was. It really was. I mean, I'm not like the biggest fan of like some of the DLCs that came out with or anything like that, but just the overall gameplay. Like, I'm only one person. I'm gonna be biased, for some things, but as a game overall, for like their whole like community, like I feel like they did really good with that game.
Well, I mean, it was okay for what it was, because I mean, I started the Horizon games back in Horizon 2, and Horizon 2 was literally everything I wanted it to be. Horizon 3 felt a bit more dull. I don't know why, but it did. Just a lot more flat to me, and not in the visual sense, but in just an overall like feel. And then 4 comes out, and all my answers were answered. It felt great. But then I got my hands on the game, started playing, and it didn't feel right. I don't know what it was. Like, everything everyone asked for. We got our super nice hairpin drift road. We got our racetrack at the festival, so to speak. All the cars we could ever want. And then something just didn't feel right. It felt missing.
I'll say it was pretty good. I've met a lot of people, did a lot of things in there. Whether it was rally, drag, circuit, had a pretty fun time.
I grew up playing Forza from the very first motorsport on the original Xbox.
Oh, damn.
And just as it developed, I come to love the game a lot. This game, I don't want to say that it was the best, but I did enjoy it throughout its lifetime of the game.
Bit of an
And
emotional roller coaster.
I squeezed the most out of what I could get out of the game, and it is what it is.
Wow. I thought it was a great game. Like, I don't even think it was just, in general, it had to be great gameplay or whatever. It was just, like, good in general to meet people. Like, all the people that I've met through this game I've stuck around with, and I don't think I've done that with any other racing game. The people that I'm hanging around with now, I've been with for like 2 years or a little more, a little less. And like, I don't know, the community, like the small communities that like meet each other through the game, that's like the best part of the game, in my opinion.
To be honest, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I heard a lot of people like give hate about certain things and others, but honestly, I kind of had a hard time hating anything. Maybe servers, but otherwise everything just felt really good. I thoroughly enjoyed the game.
Kind of a love-hate relationship. Sometimes I have a lot of fun. It's like challenging, racing, like the people that I want to race, and then other times you just hate the game. You wonder if they're ever gonna fix anything.
A bit of an
And they
abusive
don't.
relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Horizon 4 for me was like kind of playground, because I think that's Horizon 4 was like it covered like such a long span of like my life, like my important years. For example, I got it as soon as it came out. I recently got a job at that time. I was a senior in high school, and then like it was like my everything, because the amount that this game allowed me to was just exploring creativity, and that's what it's all about, creativity.
Yeah, you really delved deep and kind of, made your own sort of fun with this game. I think that was one of the highlights of it.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I knew what Toge was before Forza Stage. So, I was just getting into A-class cars and just like rip like winding roads in this game, even though there weren't that many. But yeah, that was definitely like so fun. Just being, because at that time I thought that was like being unique, because almost everybody was like an S2, S1 cars and shit. But yeah, I definitely, I'm glad I joined Forza Stage, but Forza Stage wouldn't be possible without Forza Horizon 4.
Well, it started off great. I didn't really know a whole lot. I got picked up by the person who taught me, and it was fun getting on every day, trying to get better, grinding, learning new cars, new tunes, figuring out how to actually turn.
Yeah, turning is
It was
important.
it was great, but towards the end it got a little boring. A lot of the people I used to play with, stopped showing up. A lot of new people came around, so hoping it'll be better in FH5, a fresh start.
For me, I think I have like a point of reference because I played like Horizon 3, and I think for me, Horizon 4 was like the game where I really got involved in the community. And I think the game itself was kind of secondary to the community, if you get what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
the game was good, but it wasn't really the main focus. I think I met like some really good friends through this game.
What would you say were some of your highlight moments in Horizon 4?
Definitely a lot of battles with you.
Just grinding it out, yeah.
all the teams we've been on / created. Probably one of my best highlight moments is when I was racing Vanilla on Goonside. Dre was doing the admin for the race, and coming around or coming down to the hairpin, because we started from the bottom and we're working our way up, and then coming around the hairpin, Vanilla swung like just a little wide, enough for me to drop one tire, and I swung out and came in, but I tapped the e-brake to get the car to pivot, and I passed Vanilla on the straight. And it was, I heard Dre's reaction, and it just hyped me up unbelievably. And then, of course, going down the main street, when you get to the gated area,
yeah,
I broke too late.
Oh no!
So Vanilla passed me again. But that was probably my best battle. And that's like when he was in his prime. It was crazy.
I feel like a good highlight was hearing that Toyota was coming back. That was a pretty fun one. I really love Toyota's cars, especially their older ones. Despite the fact that they literally put in every single car except the one I wanted, the Lexus SC300. I was still happy. It made my day. Especially since the rumor was going around that they wouldn't be in even in Horizon 5. It was nice to see. There was that. There was doing Forza Toge shit. That was pretty fun. A community that is basically trying to do something that's not made for the game really intrigues me.
Of course, my favorite track is Needle. So that's doing Needle Rivals. One of my favorite things. Juggernaut. Like Juggernaut, one of my favorite rivals. But mainly, just racing. It's my main thing that I like to do in there. It's just, it felt pretty good playing that game.
Yeah, just getting in the grind and the mix with other people.
Yeah, just racing with people and in general, it felt pretty good.
One, it was the cars for how the weekly Forzathon and all that, the cars.
Oh yeah, getting that new car drop.
There were some cars that I like the Alpha 155. That was because that was my main in FH3, and when that car came out, I was like super excited about it. And come to find out, it kind of sucked a little bit, to me at least. It wasn't as good as it was on FH3.
It was both incredibly broken and then also became quickly and swiftly nerfed down to it's okay.
It's okay, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the other stuff that I like to do besides Toge was car shows. And that is a really tough thing to accomplish, because what they do is they have like 12 people in a party and there's only one judge, and the only way that you're gonna win money is if you last until the very end, meaning I have to show off 10 to 12 different cars that are nice looking that the judge would like. And you know, I mean, I've won a couple of those, and that's how I was able also to obtain quite a bit of credits on the game as well.
Like joining Forza stage and meeting all the people through there, uh, having a lot of close racing online, just in general.
Yeah.
Like I've met some fast people through there, and then just goofing off with friends. Really, like I know specifically that I spent like 3 hours or so in a game with Shark. We found this one just random bump. We were trying to see who could flip their car over the bridge in the most dramatic fashion possible. We were just having like stupid conversations while rolling our like Honda Civic, I think it was.
Just
And
for
it was
3
so
hours
dumb.
worth, eh?
Yeah, for 3 hours.
I don't really know about moments per se, but honestly, just finding all like the different communities doing different little things, like your little like Toge communities, rally communities, drift drag, just meeting new people, doing new stuff.
Yeah, you seem to have gone into a lot of different territories as far as racing goes.
Yeah.
and got mod in a lot of those communities, unsurprisingly.
And I still don't know how.
I've had a lot of good races, like with select people. Some highlights were in like Team Wars, the Legend Cup, raced some fast people in there. Other times it's like just straight up 1v1s with people that are really cracked at the game.
You were in deep with like some of the highly competitive drivers, eh?
Yeah. The person I'd arguably say like the fastest on the game. I've raced No 3 a lot, and he's gotten me.
Yeah, No
into
3
a lot
is a
of things.
monster.
he got me into ESV. I think he did advocate for me when I was getting to 1% as well. So did carry me a lot. Racing him is always a highlight.
Yeah, the No 3 carry.
Yeah.
That's solid. Yeah, assuming No 3, however you want to go by, he's something else.
Yeah, for sure.
Moments was like when they would reveal like new cars. I think when the Nissan Pulsar got added, when the Alpha 155 got added, because like it was such a like there's hope. It made me realize that there's always hope.
I would say some of the best highlights would have to be in probably within the second half of the first year that I started playing. So that's kind of when I had a general understanding of how to drive, and I was good enough that I could keep up with some people, but not really fast. So it was cool getting, battle other people that were similar in speed and get to follow some of the greats as they were moving up and getting better as they went.
Definitely the battles, man. Like the Toge battles and shit. Like some of the battles that I had early days, like season 1 and 2, where I wasn't like, I was still learning how to drive fast and tune and stuff like that. But that was the most exciting time for me. Like driving against like the 1%ers when they had a team, and like Black Diamond when they were still a thing, and on the name of Twan's team back in the day. But there was a bunch of like really fast guys who were way faster than me, and it was really cool to sort of, to struggle to get up to their level. That was the most exciting thing. Some of my favorite memories come from those battles where I just got my ass handed to me, or like ended up crashing into a house or a tree.
Go into some of the lowlights of this game, because I'm sure there's some stuff you want to talk about. What was one of the most frustrating things that you encountered while playing Forza Horizon 4? Traffic?
Easily 100% traffic.
Fair.
Because it's not just there was like a lot or like a little bit. It's they would always, quote unquote, spawn as you're going into a certain corner. They would just be right there. I'll definitely say that was probably my biggest like assumption of a flaw in the game. Because also if you're with the homies, or you just want to drive with traffic off, you don't have to deal with it. You know, I feel like that should be an option if you're gonna like host a lobby. But I don't know how they would implement that in free roam unless they have like free roam no traffic. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, fuck me. The people. The people by far. The game can shit a brick for all I care. The people were the worst part about it.
Okay.
They're all assholes. Not only to the game, but to other people. They all have god complexes.
Okay.
They all think
fair.
they know what's best for Forza, but what they're really asking for is a Assetto Corsa with mods, but they're too much of a bitch boy to put money down for a racing wheel. It's really weird to me. I don't get it. But I mean, who am I to say? Because I'm also in that boat. Kind of hypocritical. But like, the worst part really comes down to the people who play the game, especially since Forza's marketing markets only to the majority of the people who put in the big Fortnite bucks for the game, which are majority children who want supercars in their Toyota Supra that they saw in their dad's Fast and the Furious VHS, but they don't even know what a VHS is. It's that group that really goes into the game, and that's the group that gets pandered towards, and it leaves a lot of the people who would be interested in doing a lot of the more, like, I don't know how to put this, but like, I'm going to sound like a bitch, but cultured shit. Like the Toge community specifically. They get cucked out of a lot of things, and it's really funny, and they all act like bitches because of it. But the problem is, it's a lot of people with a lot of different ideas for what they want Horizon to be, but none of them know what's best for Horizon.
When you make events, you know, that's the thing that kind of bothered me. Whenever you make an event, it wouldn't actually spawn for the people to see.
Right,
you
yeah.
know, and then if people was to join, it'll let them join, but it'll kick you out. It's kind of frustrating. When you do
It
custom
was
tracks.
so bad. Like, the event stuff just never really worked, eh?
Yeah, pretty terrible.
Definitely the recycled car files, sound files was a real struggle for me to overcome.
Yeah, like the seasonal events. There's only one that you have to do online. It's the trial event, but then all the other ones are against AI. The AI is just absolutely terrible. But they're also like super laggy, and they like get really skittish when they get right next to you, and they just ram you off the road too. That's really frustrating.
Probably the biggest one would just be server quality. That seems to be just the biggest issue for everything, you know, like desync and like weird traffic, people disconnecting. It's just the biggest issue in that game is just servers being bad.
Yeah, desync was definitely huge. I remember stuff being literally unplayable because of the hitboxes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you just get sent to Narnia. It was awful.
Yeah, very funny, but awful.
I hate how unbalanced some of the cars are. I hate how, like, the map isn't really well refined. Like, you'll just be driving, and there's random bumps in the road, random pixels in the wall that just stop you or send you in the air.
Just
I wish the
harsh
game was
edges.
refined. Yeah. I wish the game was more refined. Just on the map, make cleaner.
Yeah.
As well as that, just like how unfun racing in some classes are.
How so?
It's just, you go to S2, and then you try to race the collisions on, and you just get destroyed by dirty air. You'll be stuck in a draft, and then you'll fly into a wall because you're going like 10 miles an hour faster than you normally would be.
For me, one of the most frustrating things I encountered when I play this game was, you know, I'm very, like, I'm about the details. Like, for me, I like to customize my car, you know, make it exactly how I want. One thing that really pissed me off was at launch, you know, most of the cars didn't even have the track width option, and then the stock fitment was pretty shitty. And that kind of bothered me a lot because like I said, like, for me, it's about the details. Another thing that really bothered me was, you know, think playing online adventure. It was just literally unplayable. It was full of rammers, people exploiting the system through checkpoints, wall riding,
Yeah, it was bad.
broken cars.
Traffic. Hands down, traffic.
We actually just talked about this in one of the other ones with literally tractors being on the corner of every single intersection.
Yep. And then, of course in winter when you're like, alright, let me get some grind in, try to, learn how to control cars a little better in, worse conditions. Helps you to drive, like, low grip cars too, but coming around a corner and there's like 3 snowplows in both lanes and you're like, bro, really?
It was probably, yeah, like as I said, early days. Like I sucked, so there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know about, like some of the I'm not gonna say exploits, but like little tips and secrets.
The
on
inner
how to,
workings.
yeah, like how to go fast on the Forza game. The first Forza game I properly like got into and like got involved in the community. So it's like I was trying to learn all the kind of stuff that people would use to kick my ass. I think the most frustrating thing specifically for me was rally tires and shit like that early days before it was banned. Because the way that it works, you could just hop in something all-wheel drive and then just pour a bunch of power into it. It didn't really work out well for anybody who didn't use that method, because in a battle, they just had way more acceleration. That was the most frustrating thing, to be honest. Like, other than that, I had so much fun though.
Just to get a bit of an interesting take, was there one feature or thing or type of something that stood well above the rest for Horizon 4?
Honestly, it's just the overall feel of the game. Like, it wasn't too bad, but nothing really stood out. Nothing really jumped at me like, oh, that's, nothing really did that for me in that game.
Going back to what you said though, that just the overall feel kind of maybe per se, like it wasn't a high barrier to entry.
Yeah, I would say that.
Elevation. Elevation stood out to me a lot.
It was pretty like diverse in the way that it equated for elevation.
Well, I mean, kind of. They like to describe how good the elevation was in Forza Horizon 4, but I honestly didn't see it.
It was
at least
it was
that
there,
much.
but it like was really spread out, so it didn't feel like it was there.
So hear me out. If you divide it if you treat Forza Horizon 4 like a square, you have the top left over by Glen Roanoke, right?
Yeah.
Nice, easy mountains, perfect for the elevation that they're trying to pull off, right? You go to the bottom left, what do you have? You have a couple rolling hills. Not much. If you go to the top left, you have a city. You're not going to put elevation in a city. It's all flat. You're not going to put it over on the bottom right because that's where all the beaches are. The only thing you have around there is Arthur's Seat, but that's even more towards the north. And other than that, it's mostly flat plains. Maybe there's the occasional little hill, but I didn't really see much. Hell, the Outback's dunes had more elevation in some portions. That was in Horizon 3.
I'm not going to lie. I would have to say drifting. Like, I kid you not. That, I didn't expect to really do too much drifting in this game. And, I started, joining posts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, the drift community is huge in this game.
It really started getting to me that, people really, love drifting on Forza. And, it's, pretty cool that the community is just that big.
See, for me, I know a lot of people are not a big fan of the city, but I really loved how the city looked at night. And I felt like there was a lot of detail in the city. And even though I love doing toge and I love racing and all that stuff, but the city was that city was it for me. I just loved their city. The city was it's old but it was still like, I don't know.
Gives you that real Street Racer vibe.
Yeah, it really did. It had nice, how can I say,
It's
what's
quite
word
the
I'm looking
aesthetic.
for? The elevation changes in the city was what I liked, and a lot of the turns and a lot of that was, so the city had to be one of the main things that I appreciated in the game a lot.
I found it quite interesting how popular this game was, like views wise, on like social media and like, you know, YouTube and stuff. I feel like this was one of the largest games for the like content community. Like, I know Horizon 3 was pretty big, but there was a lot of hype for this one, and I feel like people are still watching content even in its later years.
Yeah.
Racing games don't tend to have much views, but people were still interested in this game, and it was such an accessible game. That's probably the reason why.
So, one of the big reasons I really play Horizon to begin with is just that there's a lot of shall I say, like, creative tools. This is not what this phrase is meant for at all, but it kind of, you can just fuck around and find out and do whatever the hell you want.
There's a lot of freedom.
Yeah, just the freedom to create whatever you want to create at any time is probably the biggest thing about that game.
Yeah, you know, as beautiful or as atrocious as you want it to be. It's yours for the taking.
Usually atrocious, but
Power builds.
Power builds?
Power builds are dominant every class.
Would you say it was fun, or would you say that kind of was rough for you?
I wouldn't say it was fun, but I think every game needs like an aspect of it. It creates like
so power
a
build
skill
advocate?
gap, you know. I'm not an advocate, but I do think it was necessary because the game was otherwise really easy. If you look at all-wheel drives, handling stuff, it's all easy. But if you look at power builds, you can have this crazy skill gap because people just don't have the ability to pull all the base out of it. And I think it was necessary to keep it because you look at Horizon 3 and there was a pretty big skill gap just because things were harder, you know, all-wheel drive. Everything was all-wheel drive, but it was still difficult, you know.
I think for me, what Horizon 4 stood out to me the most was just being able to drive everywhere. Like, I mean, we take it for granted, but when you realize that, like, this is a very good game for you can just hop on. Let's say you get home from work, school, just hop on in this game and just drive whatever you want.
I mean, I think the graphics were overall fairly well. I think some of the cars seemed a little big, and some of them seemed a little small. But I'd say overall it was done pretty well.
I think it's probably... Oh, this is going to be a controversial one, but I think it's the map. Because I know this is going to sound dumb, but like in terms of the actual roads and stuff, I feel like there was some really nice roads for doing battles and Toge and stuff like that. Like some specific sections of courses that I think we hadn't had in any other Forza game really. Like bits of Orange and Gunzai and stuff, which are like single lane roads. I think that was one thing that really stood out to me about this game. So I'd really like to see more of that in the next game, to be honest.
Speaking of Horizon 5, do you have any plans going into Horizon 5 at all?
Another Drift Spring EK build.
You heard it here first. Drift Spring EK is coming back.
Yeah, it's definitely getting a revamp for sure.
Maybe they'll let you put drift tires on your builds.
That would be insane. That would actually be insane.
Not really.
Just
Not
gonna play
really.
the game as like standard and feel it out.
I'm going in blind, man. I've seen like 3 previews. I might try drifting again. I did some drift comps back in Horizon 4. I might try to get back into that boat if it's worth it. I don't know. I'm going in for the ride.
I say I would like to make a bunch of videos for my YouTube page on Horizon 5.
Yeah, fair. There's gonna be a lot of
That-
content to cover.
Gonna attempt to open a driving school, teach you how to drive.
People need it.
Yeah, and that should really be it. I'm planning on doing much extreme things in Horizon 5. Not anymore, at least.
Stepping my pace up.
I mean, fair. I think we're all trying to do that.
Yeah, that's really the goal, and not even just giving straight facts, throughout the FS history, I've been able to stay on at least top 3 throughout all 5 seasons of this game and FH4, and my goal is just to maintain that, but also step my pace up quite a bit, especially with the new setup and all that. So, and I think I wrote something else down here, and just have fun.
Yeah, having fun, of course.
Yeah.
How can we forget that?
Yeah, it's just have fun. That's all.
I mean, not in particular. I'm probably gonna go into it like I always do every release for a Forza game, complete all of the story or whatever, and then focus when I have like my base for everything.
I mean, obviously there's a whole like mod servers helping stuff out with that. As far as the game itself, to be honest, I'm not really too sure. I've kind of been purposely avoiding looking into like gameplay and stuff for Horizon 5. And so I really don't know what's there to offer yet.
Any plans for local line?
Well, obviously, getting back together for Horizon 5, new game, new chapter. That sounds cringy as hell, but you know what I mean. Past that, not really. Forza stage, obviously, that'll probably end up starting back up again. At some point, I might like host an event or two. You've probably, like I was saying, I like to build a lot of stuff, cars, tracks, etc.
Yeah, nothing special. I was gonna continue being, because mostly the people in there want it to be continued. Brought into FH5 for Team Wars, and then for the stage, I didn't have any specific plans about starting a team. Maybe I'll just keep like the one I have now. Or maybe I'll completely rebrand, try to make it more balanced, because it was a little dominant FS towards the end.
I think I'm having a little bit of I'm a bit busy with school right now, and I just recently got a job. But Horizon for me is always gonna have a special place in my heart, and by all means, like what I did in FH4, I'm gonna continue doing it in FH5 at a more at a better pace, I guess you could say. Like I'm hoping to get better.
Well, I mean, I guess as everyone would say, get faster.
Yeah.
But I have my student that I'm teaching, so hopefully be able to teach him more, and he'll be able to adapt to a new game. That'll help him out a lot, learn some adaptability, and hopefully get him on his way.
I'm just gonna be vibing, man. I don't have as much time as I used to, so I'm just gonna see what happens. I don't have any plans like in terms of like a team or starting a team or anything like that. I just want to try and help establish a good rule set, really, so that it's as balanced as possible and it promotes close racing. But that's all I really have in terms of plans.
Going on to some hopeful wishing here, is there a feature or like a thing or something that you hope is true to what's been said? What's that one thing that you're most hopeful for when it comes to Horizon 5?
Just kind of just want the same thing, honestly, just done a little bit better.
More
As far
polish.
as like quality. Yeah, not feel so rushed to release content and stuff, But yeah, like I said, definitely the car sounds, because they had a lot of issues in some of the cars. They were dope when they came out. They looked great. They just sounded not like the car, and that kind of makes up like 70% of wanting to drive the car is the sound, you know.
Mhm.
And I think they should definitely, hopefully, concentrate more on that in this game, which I have already heard about. The Hondas do have different sounds, but I kind of want to keep it a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
A little bit. I don't want to look too much into it. One thing I am curious though about FH5 is I wonder how the wheel support's going to be, because it wasn't too terribly great on FH4.
Yeah.
By no means, unless you're drifting, because drifting your movements aren't as consistent. You know, you're kind of just swaying back and forth, and you can be real lenient, real smooth, or you know, you can be real jerky with it. But when it came to like actually racing, like it was just horrible.
Things I'm overall hyped for. I saw that there's more smoke for drifting and burnouts.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of a pet peeve of mine back in like Horizon 4. Handling model, really hyped for. The new elevation, I'm hyped for. I really want to see some more like good rally-esque stage areas, as well as some possibly good toge roads.
Mm-hmm.
The whole volcano section up in the north of the map of Horizon 5, as well as over by the bridge, those parts are all the way on like separate parts of the map.
Yeah.
But they both have insane elevation that we saw in Glen Roanoke, sometimes even more. And that's why I'm kind of interested and kind of pleased with a lot of the map so far that what we've seen. They said that they changed things. I hope they work. Someone told me they have new transmissions.
They do.
I haven't really heard much about it.
I would have to say a more interaction than Horizon 4 too, because you know, if you judge from Horizon 3 to Horizon 4, the interaction in Horizon 3 was way different than Horizon 4.
So when you say interaction, do you mean like with other players, or do you mean with like the story?
Like, you know, people were more involved, is what I should say. Like, people would like message you and stuff in Horizon 3. You know, they were really trying to get involved with like the way you were driving and shit like that.
So I wrote down here cars. I'm really hoping for a way better list of cars, because you know in FH4 they gave us a whole bunch of cars, but a whole bunch of cars that I rarely even used. I hope that in this game that they're gonna give us more meaningful cars that we can cherish.
But I'm hoping that they add some of the cars that they like. I know the game's not out yet, but the car list that they have out now, it doesn't have all the cars that I was anticipating or hoping that they would have. So I'm hoping that they add some of those cars. And some of them were in Horizon 4, they weren't in Horizon 5.
Probably the biggest thing that I'm excited about is like the track creator in that arena thing or whatever. Like I said, I really like creating stuff, and probably one of my favorite things to do is just making new tracks. So being able to have tools like, you know, actually starting where you want, like putting up props and walls and stuff, super excited for that.
I hope the handling isn't as easy as it looks through the gameplay that we've seen. Some of the bits, it's like, okay, this kind of looks like FH4. Other times it's like, is this Need for Speed 2015? This is like on rails, and you're like hitting the brakes to drift. We'll see. Hopefully they keep a similar handling model and similar difficulty in certain things. Or hopefully they restructured the PI to make other things difficult, you know. As long as there's some aspect of the game that is difficult and, you know, gives a reason to play the game, to improve.
One of the things that I'm hopeful for the new game, and I'm pretty sure most people have pointed out too, is, you know, new roads and new roads. I mean, just when you think about it, this game has been out. No, Forza has been out for 3 years, so like, I think for most people, just being able to drive on something new is going to be enough.
I'm hoping that the roads are a little more inconsistent, if that makes sense. That is one thing I did notice in Horizon 4. Like, most of the courses we ran, except for Fortune Island and the courses we had there, they were all really consistent. Like, there was no weird, like two corners could be exactly the same, where, you know, you go into IRL and other courses, you know, no corner is the same. So it'll really make it tricky, and it'll bring out, you know, the better drivers will be better, the worse drivers will be worse. It'll help to balance out like power builds and grip builds, because there's going to be areas where you're going to be able to gain more and lose more depending on the car. I think that'll make things a lot more interesting, so it'll really come down to driver rather than car.
I think it's got to be the map. Like, I really hope the map is just better than any other map we've had before. I hope it has everything that we've had up until this point in Horizon 1, 2, 3, and 4, and even more. Nice, close, tight roads. Some elevation changes as well, because that was kind of missing in this game. It feels kind of flat. Yeah, I just want a really, really nice map, because that's what makes good racing at the end of the day.
Is there anything that you wanted to shout out before I let you go?
Well, shout out to you for having me. You know, that's a big one. You know, honestly, you know, just shout out to the directors and creators and stuff, Forza. And
I haven't talked to JT in a while. Shout out to him. You're a real one. I want to know how his Honda's doing. I might start a YouTube channel soon. We'll see where I can go with that. Also, shout out to Shark. The homie. Real one.
The real one.
My YouTube page, Lojashi, and Tojo School. OJO.
Ah, okay.
So
that's gonna be your new group that you're putting together?
No, it's gonna be a school. I'm just a superintendent. I have a list of instructors, drivers, you know, the whole shebang, rules, all of that.
So I believe it was that Discord thing that you sent me earlier then.
I want to say FS, but not everybody.
Yeah,
Just,
the
you know,
server,
shout out
not
to the
necessarily
Toge community.
everybody.
Shout out to the Toge community.
There you go.
And if anybody is interested in getting down with the get down, you know, make sure you hit up, you know, the community servers that are involved with doing Toge. And yeah, other than that, man, I just want to, especially to you too as well, thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, man.
Nice, definitely.
I would just shout out like all the people that I met through the game, like that. The memories that I made through this game is just over everything else. So, you know, Shark, Queen, Block, Anubis, you, Bappo, Hydra, like the majority of Forza stage, all of them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. If it wasn't for a community like that, I probably wouldn't have been in the game as long.
I mean, obviously there's like, you know, the whole Forza stage thing, Horizon 5. We're going to see how that goes. Might shake things up a fair bit. I'm not sure. We'll see. I'm excited to see what happens. And other than that, I can't think of anything, but if you want, I can send you a picture of my dog, and we can just put that in there.
You know what?
Purely for shits and giggles.
We can plug the dog, I think. I'll try and make that happen.
Alright.
What's
just right off.
What's the dog's name?
Oh, Lucy.
A shout out to Lucy, eh?
Yeah, shout out to Lucy, let's go.
Yeah, just my YouTube, you know. Sometimes I post laps or clip dumps.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
Wilma's saying weird things.
Yeah, true. Just funny stuff. Things I find interesting.
I have a YouTube channel called VTalk, literally my gamer tag, VTOQ. And I mean, I don't really use it to show off content or anything like that. I just kind of use it more as a tool to archive races that have happened in our Toge community.
Anything that I would shout out has already come and gone. I would say shout out to you for always picking me up. It's a huge thanks.
Amen.
Someone's got faith in me.
Damn, there's too many people to like shout out names of like just shout out everybody I've met while playing Forza on this game. And hopefully I get to see most of those people, and a lot of people who aren't playing anymore. Hopefully I get to see them come back, even if it's briefly, just to try out a new game. That'll be nice. And yeah, that's about it really.
Well, thank you for taking some time out of your day to come and talk to me about your time on Horizon 4.
you know, more times is coming.
Yeah.
More hours, the thousands of hours. Hopefully, I don't put that much into this EK, but we'll see.
You
We'll
never
see
know.
how that goes.
Well, if I don't see you on the 5th, I'll see you on the 9th.
I will definitely be there on the 5th. 100%.
Alrighty. Looking forward to it. Some more battles in the future.
Definitely. Can't
Yeah.
wait.
Take care.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to, give me some insight on your time in Horizon.
Oh yeah, you too. Take
And,
care on your not a GTR.
Yeah, I will take care with my Not a GTR. I will see you on the 5th.
Yeah, see you on the 5th, broski.
Thank you for your time, man. Like, honestly, I really appreciate it because it's hard to get people together for something like this, at least.
Yeah, nah, my cup of tea is talking, so
Hey,
pretty perfect.
well, I'll make sure to reach out again if we do this another time.
All right,
Much appreciated, Takshi.
all right.
All right, man. Well,
Alrighty.
take care. Have a lovely evening.
Yep. You too. You too.
That about does it. So thank you for taking time out of your day to come and talk to me about all this stuff. It was really great hearing your side of things.
Oh yeah, no problem. I enjoyed this.
Thank you for your time. It's really it's so nice hearing from like the community just on the experiences and stuff and what they enjoyed.
I appreciate you having me here.
Take care, man, and I'll see you on the 5th. Good luck with your races.
Thank you. See you on the 5th.
Thanks for taking some time. I know it's a little bit impromptu and a bit odd, but
problem.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Alrighty, man. Well, take care. Good luck. I'll see you on the 5th, I assume.
Yeah, for sure.
I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come and talk to me. With that, hopefully I'll see you around on those new roads, eh?
Oh, definitely will. And many more.
Yeah, for sure. Take care, man.
You too.
Thanks for your time, man. Like, honestly, I really appreciate it.
Of course, anytime, man.
I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come and talk to me and give me your thoughts on this stuff.
Oh, no worries. It's a pleasure, man.
And if I don't see you on the 5th, I'll see you on the 9th.
Yeah, on the 9th. For sure, definitely on the 9th.
Okay,
Depending on if I'm working.
fair. Well, take care, man.
Yeah, you too, man.
With everything you've heard beforehand, I'd just like to close out on a couple of my own thoughts and basically answer my own questions. We're pretty much at the end of the video, so if you care about my opinion, feel free to stick around. But otherwise, that's all the other interviews out of the way. With that being said, Forza Horizon 4 was a game of opportunity for me. I found myself learning how to properly race and experience what it's like to actually progress in a racing game. Sure, there wasn't story, and there wasn't any, crazy DLCs. I mean, Needle was about as far as I got into DLC because, let's be honest, LEGO wasn't exactly the best. But as a core experience, it's when I went from being a casual player who just hops on to play, shifting more towards somebody who races to understand myself and to grow as a driver. Some of my highlight moments was probably when I first started. When I first started doing Toge, I found myself getting absolutely rocked, but meeting people who took a chance on me and actually gave me an opportunity to prove myself. I know it's a bit of a cop-out, but I started racing back when Space Boy was, very prevalent in Forza Horizon 4. And he basically showed me what I was doing wrong and explained stuff to me in a way that I could actually understand. He helped me grow. That was a huge moment. Probably the next biggest moment would be creating Vanta Void as a club. I think that for me was my first stretch out of my comfort zone. That was probably my most ambitious thing I've ever done, even though I didn't necessarily want to do it at the start. And I think it's kind of set the precedent for what I want out of a Horizon game. Of course, being brought into, being with Raiden and hanging out with him a lot was a huge moment for me as well. And getting to meet people was really big. I think the community aspect of the game was enough for me to get out of my shell to the point where I talk to people. I used to be terrified of just talking to somebody. Still a little nervous talking on a microphone when it comes to my own videos, but here we are. So I'd say the community's been a highlight for better or for worse. One of the most frustrating things for me that I ever encountered in Horizon 4, and this is going to sound very petty, but it drove me bonkers, and that's during the re-implementation of Mitsubishi into the game, they messed up all the exhausts so you could see through the bottom of them, and that to me was just infuriating. And the fact that that leaked over onto other cars and proceeded to make new cars that looked really cool have this really stupid visual bug. It was a really annoying thing for me. And then anything game breaking would probably just be the random holes or extra barriers that stick out. I'm hoping they do more polish on the next game, but I can live with small little barriers and clipping points. The thing that stood out to me the most would probably be the way that the game encourages you to get better. With me branching off into Rivals, I learned a lot about how to slowly work your way through a problem. And that problem basically being you're too slow. So little by little you can whittle away what exactly you're doing wrong and improve yourself accordingly. I would say that because there wasn't a huge necessary barrier to entry for being fast and for getting better and progressing, it was kind of a standout thing, because you could be a brand new player and you've never touched a Horizon game before. But as you progress and as you understand the game a little bit deeper, you do have the opportunity to be the best driver that you can make yourself. And the only thing stopping you was essentially you. So the accessibility of the Horizon series as a whole, it's phenomenal. Pair that with a big player base and you're gonna make some good drivers. Do I have any plans for going into Horizon 5? I will be making a new club, and I can't disclose the name fully until it happens, mostly because I don't want to get it sniped, so keeping my lips tight on that one. And other than that, I think I'm just going to be making more videos, trying to maybe do some more cinematic styling on my Horizon content, as well as mixing in a lot of the Toge videos, like that volcano road's going to be huge. Some themed battles for sure, some tournaments. And just at its core, I'll probably play on an alt a fair bit, just so that I can enjoy the game at my own pace once I've done everything I needed to do. Because I don't think I'm going to get to enjoy it fully until I've gotten that initial, load of work done beforehand. One of the things that I'm most hopeful for in this game, as stupid as it sounds, is I hope they didn't mangle the handling on road. People are saying it's good, and I'm within that camp. It looks okay. Sometimes though, when watching the gameplay, it looks like they're on rails. And then other times, like there was a brief clip of it was a Ford Bronco going through a river, and it goes from driving straight to turning slightly, and then to like a 90-degree angle, which looks atrocious. So I'm just hopeful it's not mangled and it doesn't feel Need for Speedy, I guess. I just hope it still feels like the Horizon that we've come to know and love, while just being a stronger version of that experience. As for things I want to shout out, you know, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who's joined the channel so far, because recently, while recording this, I actually just hit 200 subscribers, and that's kind of weird because I only made this channel to make content that I really would watch for myself. And if people wanted to watch it, you know, that's cool. I also made it to, you know, record some battles and the experience of what it was like playing this game. You know, I wanted to showcase some things that I've done and have a platform to express myself. I don't think this is ever going to take off, but it does mean a lot that you guys are watching this stuff. It gives me motivation. You know, I mean, I still see the graph and it's like 95% of your people who are watching don't subscribe to you, which is fine. I don't care. The fact that even 5% are is ridiculous. But it's exciting, and it does kind of push me to make more. I would say if you're not and you're thinking about it, you know, maybe subscribe, because you'll effectively be influencing me to push more content out. I don't really see this being a living, but I definitely see this as a way for me to kind of just be me for a change. I'd like to shout out the guys over at Bean. That club is incredibly fast, and just even having the chance to be a part of it and experience that team atmosphere was huge, even if there was a lot of memes thrown around. I'd like to thank the Vanta Void server. I didn't even think that you guys would want to use this place, but you're here, and that's cool. In particular, I want to say, you know, thank you to guys like Akemi for sticking it out with me for so long. V-Talk is another one. Dude's been hanging with me since the get-go when he started doing Toge racing. Seishu for always hopping on my teams. Enduring for always being there. Dude's an absolute legend. Silent for coming with me on Phantasy Star and actually giving me a person to talk to for a while. Raiden for teaching me some of the inner workings of games. I want to thank Drew for all of his wacky conversations that we get to have. You know, there's a lot off camera that we share and just talk about, and the dude is a really nice person. You know, I think people need to get to know him more, because he is quite literally one of the best dudes I've met. I want to thank Shark for keeping it interesting. I want to thank Tuga for giving me tons of long conversations, just about anything, really. Well, as long as it's interesting, you know, we go through it. Takshi for lighting a fire under me every now and then to go hop on Needle to prove that I'm not just the slowed down Phantasy Star player. Vanilla for occasionally coming in to give me a little bit of a reality check with his speed, because man's quick. I want to say thank you to Spaceboy. I don't know if you watch my content anymore. I don't know if you even still want to hear from me at all, but you really did kind of change me, and you made me a better driver, and for that I am forever grateful. I want to thank Forza Stage as a whole, because although it's had its moments of being an absolute, like, dumpster fire, it's also had its moments of being a community that I can express myself in. I want to thank the HPCS group for keeping it interesting until Horizon 5, because quite literally that was the only reason I really raced anymore, was just to hop on and do some Porsche spec racing. And I just am grateful that I've got to have this experience that I never knew I could have for 3 years. You know, hopefully here's to many more. With all that said, thank you for watching. It means a lot to me. And hopefully, I'll see you all in Horizon 5. Good luck out there.